Like we always do at this time, I go for mine. I get this.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the No Names. I am Havoc, Jeremiah Jackson. This is the franchise Kyle Gibbons. What we're going to talk about today is our insight recap into the 2011 NFL Draft. I hope none of you missed that. To me, it was a great draft. As a Colts fan, I was especially excited. What we're going to do here, again, we tell it like it is here. We don't cut any corners. We don't provide any BS. It's basically our opinion. You like it, you don't. We don't care. So, with that in mind, let's get started. We are going to talk about our winners today, Kyle, and our losers. And what I mean by that is the things that we looked for in the draft, which were filling needs, providing depth, promoting competition within a team. If you don't have those things filled in the draft, then you did not do good. If you did, you probably made our winners list in one way or another. With that in mind, I'd like to start with my big winner. This, to me, is the team that, by far and away, did it better than anybody else. And not to toot a horn for him or anything, but this team is the Detroit Lions. Nick Fairley at 13, huge value. You're talking a top 3 pick, probably in some people's eyes the number 1 defensive tackle. You know, flip a coin. Heads Fairley, tails Darius. Getting Nick Fairley and upgrading that line, huge. Him and Ndamukong Suh, I would not want to be a running back in the NFC North, to be honest with you. I don't want to be Adrian Peterson.
It's great being a fan.
Yeah, I bet it is for you. Day 2. They continued with the magic. 2 second-round picks, Titus Young, explosive X-factor, deep downfield threat, great wide receiver out of Boise State. A little small, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think the guy has got some talent. He's legit. I see big things out of him being that third slot guy. Michael LeSure, running back out of Illinois. I know a lot of people have compared to Rashard Mendenhall. You've got thunder and lightning there with him and Jahvid Best. You've got Jahvid Best, the pass catcher, the explosive, elusive, speedy guy, and you've got LeSure, who's going to knock it right up the gut and get you those goal line touchdowns. So, my opinion, the Detroit Lions, the big winners. Had a couple other guys that were right there on the cusp, a couple other teams. The Denver Broncos and the Cleveland Browns. The Broncos filling needs in the secondary. Raheem Moore, great safety. He's going to tutor under Brian Dawkins. Great kid out of UCLA. He's got good ball vision. A couple years ago, I think he had like 10 interceptions as a sophomore. I see some pretty good things out of that kid. Von Miller, that's big for me. John Fox is switching from that 4-3 to that 3-4.
Grown man.
Von Miller is a grown man. He is a legitimate grown man. Big time outside linebacker out of Texas A&M. 3rd overall pick in this year's draft. The guy can do it all. There's nothing that cannot be said about him that hasn't already been said by many of the experts. But in my opinion, the best talent in the draft.
Starter day 1.
Yes, exactly.
Day 1. Starting right now. We're on lockout. He's starting right now.
Yep. Cleveland Browns. A butt of jokes around the league for years and years. Not anymore. Trading back. Atlanta traded up to 6, which was Cleveland's spot, to get Julio Jones, the wide receiver from Alabama. Cleveland picked up many picks out of that. And in doing so, moved back up to 21 at Kansas City spot and filled the need that Shaun Rogers left, which was defensive tackle, the anchor of the line. Taking Shaun Rogers 2.0, Phil Taylor, nose tackle, Baylor, huge mountain of a man.
I can tell you right now the kind of void Shaun Rogers leaves when he leaves the team. Detroit traded him a few years ago, picked up Lee Bowden. A giant mistake because Shaun Rogers had some issues off the field. He went to Cleveland and really anchored that line and made him a contender on defense.
Exactly. That's exactly what Cleveland did. And here's what I really like about Cleveland. Greg Little, wide receiver, North Carolina. Say what you want. Say he's a diva. Say he's got character concerns. You know what? A lot of guys on North Carolina had character concerns. Apparently, they were putting something in the water down there that made people stupid.
Weren't they all drafted in the 1st round, though?
They were first-round talents. We know that. Marvin Austin, Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn went, what was he, 10?
Yeah, he's unreal.
Yeah,
I don't even want to talk about him.
That being said, Greg Little, perfect wide receiver for Colt McCoy. There's going to be a great, young, explosive offense there. You've already got Massaquoi. You've got the man cover guy. I disagree with this, but he is on the man cover. Peyton Hillis. Montario Hardesty, the rookie running back last year from Tennessee, didn't play. He's coming back. Look for big things from the Cleveland Browns. That pretty much sums up my winners. I would really like to hear your take on the matter.
My winners, obviously, I thought the Detroit Lions did great. At 13, I personally was hoping we'd take a D lineman, cover corner. Things didn't fall exactly the way the Lions were looking for. We caught Fairley at 13, which that's about as good consolation prize you can ever have.
Absolutely.
And if you listen to the garbage on the internet, apparently the Lions had Mayhew number 1 on their board, or Mayhew had Nick Fairley number 1 on their board. So if that was so, it doesn't get much better planning than that. I want to talk about another winner, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last year, Gerald McCoy at number 3 overall. He was an animal. And Ndamukong Suh for Detroit Lions got a lot of the media coverage because of what he did on such a garbage team. But McCoy was doing work down in Tampa.
And Brian Price as
Yep,
well. Second
on
round pick
UCLA.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay this year went and got 2 more defensive linemen, and I think they may use Raheem Morris. I'm not sure if he had talked about it enough, but he did talk about moving Claiborne to outside backer.
Wow.
And using him there too. So they got Claiborne and they got Daquan Bowers, 2 legitimate studs. Claiborne out of Iowa, Daquan Bowers out of Clemson, who a few months ago was number 1 pick overall on most boards.
Absolutely, if not for the knee.
Yep, if not for the knee, number 1. So I've got Tampa there. New Orleans. Anytime you draft a Heisman Trophy winner, you're doing well. Ingram fell. They drafted him. They picked up Cameron Jordan, in my opinion, who was the best defensive lineman in the entire draft. They got him. New Orleans is just doing everything right. They're just doing everything right.
As much as I don't like to admit
Not
that,
a Saints
yes.
fan. Not a Saints fan. They're doing everything right, unfortunately.
Yes.
Colts. Initially, I had them as losers because I didn't feel they addressed their most pressing need at defensive tackle. But just like Detroit Lions, something fell into their lap. Anthony Costanzo out of Boston College. You got to take him. You got to take him. He's polished. He's ready to go right now.
Best offensive tackle in the draft, in my opinion.
Starter day 1. Okay, we talk about starters day 1. They don't come along all the time. The draft isn't an exact science. Costanzo is a starter day 1. They got Aguilana. He may start day 1, especially if there's injuries that have been recurring over the past couple of years. They got for the first time in years, they got a power back. Edgerrin James was the closest power they had. Delone Carter is a power back. Peyton Manning gets in trouble. We're banging out 3 or 4 yards a carry. Jeff Saturday's getting his wish. We're grinding it out. That's exactly what the Colts want to do. Polian did it in the 90s with the Buffalo Bills, and he's doing it now. Colts ran into trouble, went offensive line. And that's why Bill Polian is in the position he's in with decisions like that.
And let me touch on that because being the self-proclaimed Colts expert that I am, it doesn't get better than Anthony Costanzo. I said this after we lost to the Jets in the wild card. I posted it on my Facebook. I said 2 names you need to watch out for: Gabe Karimi, the big offensive tackle, Outland Trophy winner from Wisconsin, and Anthony Costanzo, my favorite, the Rhodes Scholar, biochemistry major, 4-year starter at Boston College. He was number 1 on our board, and they didn't even have a scenario where he would fall to him because he was that good.
I thought the Lions would take him at 13.
I mean, they drew scenarios up where he would fall anywhere from 9 to 14. No later than 19 to the Giants. And for him to fall to them at 22, that's like Christmas come early. Christmas in April, folks. Believe that he will be the starting left tackle on opening day. Peyton Manning's blindside protector for the rest of his career. Ben Aguilana, starting right guard, starting right tackle when Dean leaves. Drake Nevis, the 3rd-round pick. You didn't cover on him too much, but I expect a lot of big things from him First team All SEC out of LSU. Great one gap technique. Huge upfield penetrator. Marcel Darius 2.0. Poor man's Marcel Darius, if you will, in my opinion. Great kid.
His only downfall is run stopper. And that's the only problem that I saw with the Colts draft.
And he is a little bit because of the undersized and the speediness, but again, I watched that for years. We always take those undersized defensive tackles, those Anthony McFarland types, and somehow it works. We always get burned on the run, but if we can build the secondary and the linebacking core up, that's where it helps us out.
Colts walk away with Muhammad, Taylor, or Marvin Austin somehow in that draft with those two offensive linemen. That may have been the best draft that I'd ever seen if that would have happened.
Yeah.
Who do you have for losers?
Well, when it comes to losers, and again, you emphasize the points of three things you need. You fill depth, you provide your needs, and you promote competition. These are the teams, in my opinion. Healthy competition. These are the things that, in my opinion, these teams did not do. Some of them, you were like this, you were like, what? Some of them, you were like, what are you thinking?
We were
watching
my house, we were watching the draft. And we were watching with a Raiders fan. And we touched last year on when they took Hayward Bay, and he wouldn't even talk to us the rest of the night.
That's right.
That's the kind of drafts we're talking about.
And you know what? If you're a Raiders fan and you're watching this and you get a little salty when we